for our what is roughly twice a month installment of the Mostly Business Show. With me, as always, is Ryan and Tim. Ryan, how are you today?
I'm okay. I shared with everyone with you guys before this, but I got a phone call a couple hours ago that one of my 2-year-old had shit his pants so bad that he and then had dug in it, which a lot, if you have
Oh,
kids, then you guys know he dug in it and smeared it all over the place. And so while they wiped him up with wipes, they made me come get him and give him a
yeah,
bath, which is fair. I'm not complaining.
yeah,
That's a fair thing to ask. So I had to do that
yeah,
this morning. And then like 15 minutes ago, our other son got sick, or our youngest one is sick. And now my wife is on her way to go get him right now. So I can do this show with you fine people. So that's
yeah,
my day. So that's unfortunate. But overall, the sun's shining. So we'll be
yeah,
okay.
yeah. You'll be all right. Tim, how you
Sounds like
doing?
a shitty day. I'm doing
It's a
great.
shitty
Better
day.
than I can honestly say I'm doing a lot better than Ryan, and I have had to clean up nothing like that today, so it's been very positive. And in the middle of a crazy, beautiful week of travel, and I couldn't be happier about it. So in a great mood.
Yeah, man. Well, if we have time, you'll have to give everybody an update on where you're going. Actually, let's just do it now. What do you got going on in your life?
Up to where? Well, let's see. Last week was the Ohana Festival, which we're going to get to later on in our music segment. We're going to
Okay.
share a little piece of footage from. So that was amazing. Saw my favorite band and your favorite band, Josh, Pearl Jam, and had just an extra incredible experience that day. And then got home from that, went to, I live in Sacramento, got home for about 4 hours, then went to the Patriots-Niners in the Bay Area the next day, and my team lost, but I still had fun. Got home for a few days, and then I went back to San Francisco, 60th birthday party, home now for a couple of days. Tomorrow is a 5-year anniversary with my beautiful wife, followed by 2 days of the Aftershock Festival, the hard rock and heavy metal festival. It's the biggest one in California, and that happens to be local here, so it's only like a 20-minute drive. So otherwise, I'm pretty bored, to be honest with you. So, so that's been
Yeah,
my,
man. You got more going on than anybody I know. Any of my friends in my life, you got more. You got more fun trips and travels. Honestly, I'm a little bit envious.
Yeah. This conversation's a big.
It's just a strange year that everything happened, including your beautiful wedding, including,
Right.
there's been, my band touring, my 5-year, just all these things hit like.
Yeah.
Really oddly. So, and here, I don't live like this every year, but I'm embracing it. And yeah.
It is an inspiration, though. I mean, I hear about all the stuff you're doing, and I'm like, damn it, I need to do something.
This has
you
been
need to do this. See 35 metal bands, and you respectfully decline 35 per day. So it's really 70 metal bands over 2 days. And it's a 4-day festival. If you want to go all 4 days, I just want to let you know you could go all 4 days.
Right.
Well, therefore, seeing
I'll consider it, but don't hold your breath. Don't hold your breath on that. Well,
definitely not.
Before we get started with everything, I did want to say with thoughts with everybody in the path of the hurricane today in Florida. Certainly, don't want to gloss over that and just talk about other business stuff, but it's tough when there's things going on in the world, and we hope everybody down there is getting out of the way of that thing. And man, Florida's getting pounded these last couple of weeks, huh?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, can't even imagine. And I say this with total respect. I can't imagine if I lived there, I would continue. Once again, it's a beautiful state. Been there many, many times, but I couldn't put myself through that. It's just the water's too warm these days.
They're just used to it. They love it. They board up and they leave and they come back. It's part of their life. It's really interesting when you think about it.
Someone who has never grown up in a situation like that seems just wild to me. Again, if that's your lifestyle and you love it, then that's, great for you. But man, I can't imagine
having to leave your home because it might get destroyed by a storm is really crazy. And to have to do that on a regular basis.
And I want
I don't mean to laugh about it. It's just a crazy concept.
No, 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 no. We're not. Yeah, yeah. Poor
Yeah.
people. Wish everybody
Yeah.
good things in Florida right now. It's a tough situation.
Absolutely. And, back to what we've got going on in our world, uh, amidst all of his travels, Tim is also still handling a pretty hefty client load right now, really focused on working with some of our folks in the Influence Engine program. And Ryan, I thought it might be interesting just to give a little high level overview of what we did last week and what we have coming up this week.
Yeah. So last week was week 1. So we had the welcome call on Monday, which was great. But that's just to get everyone kind of in the right mindset and to get everyone thinking about the right things. But on Thursday, we kicked things off with the first actual training for week 1, called buyer persona mapping. And it's one of the foundational pieces of the system and really for any of the marketing that we do. But and it's all about, and like what we covered was like how to develop like a targeted buyer persona. And that's not like an avatar, like, hey, meet Sam. This is, she has 2 kids, and that it's not that kind of thing. It's like, how do you dial in who your very best customers, who your very best prospect is, so that way you can tailor your marketing around those people, so you attract more of your best prospects throughout all of your lead generation, and you're really, you're going to maximize the amount of money you make because it's people that you perform the best for, your products are best for, or whatever. And then so once we had that dialed in of like this is the people you want to work with, we focused on identifying pain points that they might have and ways that you can do that. So we wanted to figure out 4 different pain points for our that our prospects are going through that'll be used the basis of some flagship thought leadership content and all of our marketing and the positioning of it for the next 12 months. And so we went through that, and I broke down some examples of what that would look like, and what some example pain points that people are going through, some ways to figure them out if you're not quite sure, and how it kind of ties into the system as a whole, which is what we'll be continuing tomorrow.
Very nice. Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, I was really impressed with everything last week. It's a new training for us, which is something we talked about a couple of weeks ago. That we've got. It's really a new program based on a methodology we've been using for a long time internally, and started using with some clients this year, and thought, well, there's a lot of people that can benefit from this. But it's been really cool seeing it all come together, and I have been more than impressed with the stuff you put together for last week. So all of our clients who are here today hanging out with us, make sure you don't miss the session on Thursday, which is going to be great. And even better.
I'll add in too. I've had a lot of communication with people in the class, probably about 15 or so people in the past couple of days. And the feedback and the questions and the excitement has been unusual. I mean, extra positive. So just a really good thing to see that people are really into it, and are really grateful. So many people would be, kind of what Ryan said, talk about themselves a little too much. And now they're leaning to kind of having that 80-20 theory where we talk about the prospect pain point. So it's going awesome, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and we have a lot of really serious people who join the program. The percentage of people showing up for the classes has been really high. And these are all really serious business people. So we're grateful to have them there. Now, also related to the Influence Engine program, I wanted to share with everybody some interesting stats that I was looking at. I was going through the emails that we had sent out during the campaign, promoting it and sharing of different content. And I don't know if you can throw those notes on the screen somehow, Ryan, from our show notes that I put in there with email subject line performance. But it just never, at this point, I'm not surprised by this. But it's, I think, an interesting reminder to kind of share with everybody. It might help you listening at home or in your office today with some of your email marketing and such. And I know Ryan's working on it. We'll get it on the screen. And here's the thing. I just picked out 5 examples that kind of show the gamut of different email subject lines and what the open rate was for how many people open the email. And it ranges anywhere from 24% to 30% open rate, which, by the way, for email marketing, and we've talked about this before, is really high. Those are super high open rates. And these are messages that are being sent out to our Substack followers. And so these are emails hitting people's inboxes. And so I think average industry is like 11 or 12%, something like that for email open rate. So
at the best.
Yeah, so we're doing something right. But regardless of where your open rates are, what you can see here is a range where the best email did 25% greater than the worst. So that's a big delta and worth noting. And so the top performing subject line was "Hey," and the worst performing, the loser of the losers, is "If you have trouble coming up with content ideas, here's a solution." And so you can see the other examples anywhere from another loser was "Research shows do this for 2 times more revenue." And then kind of in the middle there, one at 25% and one at 27% is "Where do you want to go?" And then "Can I get your input?" So this is something we've seen over and over for time eternity, that these subject lines that are very vague and almost kind of feel like you're sending it to that person individually, and it doesn't feel like just a normal marketing message, they get higher response rates. The thing is, though, and then I want to see what Ryan, I'd like your input on this too, because I know you've studied this stuff more than me, is that you can't overdo it. And if you see this and you're like, oh, well, then let's just do only that. Why would we even do the other ones? Because then you teach your followers and your list to ignore it if you do that. So you have to do this kind of stuff selectively. And every once in a while, you need a really straightforward subject line just to keep everybody honest and vary it up and mix it up. If every one of them says, "Hey," or if every one of them's like a little tricky in some way, then people stop opening them as much. Ryan, what do you think?
Well, absolutely. So there's studies out there that show that word count matters in subject lines. So usually I can't remember the exact number, but I think it was subject lines between 4 to 6 words perform the best, which fits kind of what's going on here. But I completely agree with what you're saying. Sometimes you have to take what's exactly working and then do the, and kind of zag when you think you should zig, because you need to have them, you need to be able to pique their interest with different things. And also there are different people that you never know. And this is something I don't know if we can find with the tools that we're using, but different people are going to open different subject lines. It's not like a universal thing. So potentially the 30% that open that, "Hey," a different group of people could be opening that second subject line. The research shows do this for 2x more revenue.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's good to switch it up. I really like using subject lines like "Hey" whenever the email's coming at a time, like when the email's time sensitive. Right before a online event or a webinar starts, last call kind of emails for products or offers, because they do usually get higher open rates. And if it's sent at kind of a weird time, then you normally get emails, because people open their inbox and between the hours of 8 to 10 a.m. they're getting hammered with emails, because that's when most people set up their emails to send. But if you have something that's going on at a weird time, I think sending "Hey," and that breaks through all the mess that's in their inbox is really good. And really the main thing is just to keep trying different subject lines, because we've had subject lines that have read almost like a blog post title perform really well, and the shorter ones perform not as well. It just really depends on kind of the marketing that you've been doing up to that point. And I think switching it up is really good. And I mean, to the point of switching it up, I still remember emails from Josh Turner back in the day would work very well, but if we ever switched it up to come from Ben or Pat or something, we'd usually get a spike, because it was almost like a pattern interrupt from what they're used to seeing. So I do think there's value in it. That just depends on what the email is about. I mean, being vague and finding interesting ways to pique people's interest and make them curious of what that is in the actual email is like, it's, one of the big challenges with email marketing. And we did for a while. I do remember that our best subject line, I think, ever in the history of mine was it was about a webinar or it was about some deadline. And we said that it was called, the subject line was just a warning about tomorrow. And that thing got like 50% open rate of like 100,000 people.
Yeah.
And it crushed it. So that, again, that's kind of a vague, it doesn't tell you exactly what's in the inbox. It's just, you're trying to get their attention.
Yeah. We get, whenever we have things like that are like, I'm looking for an example, like meeting invite, really informal. Sometimes I've made an email look like an actual like Google Calendar invitation in the subject line, and that performs really well. So you know what I mean? When you get a calendar invite from somebody, it'll say like invitation, meeting with so-and-so at Thursday, July 11th, 2024, 2 p.m. So every once in a while, I'll throw in one of those. It works well because it looks like someone's actually being invited to a meeting, and they actually are. In that case, it's a webinar that we're hosting. So yeah, a lot of ways to do it. And you just gotta vary them up. You gotta switch it up. Keep it exciting for folks. Everybody on your list, they want to see a lot of different email subject lines. They want to see creativity. If not, they're going to stop opening your emails.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, buddy.
I was just going to say the only other thing that I was going to say is, like, I completely agree with like on the same line as the invitation email you just talked about. We used to send. Yeah. There was a phase for a while we would send an email out in the morning, and then we would send to the unopens in the afternoon. So somebody who either just missed it, and then we would just add like RE : in front of it, almost like we're replying to the same email, and we'd send them a version of that email again to try to get people's attention. And that usually got it. And that was going to the unopened, so it was like a different, it was a less engaged audience, but it would still get a substantial amount of opens because somebody, it really triggers that that thought in someone's head that someone's following up with them and they're dropping the ball by not opening it. And that's really my main suggestion is email often as you feel comfortable doing. Switch up the subject lines a whole lot. Continue to test new things, and don't get locked into a specific template or formula, because that's not how people react to emails. There's no like set rule of like it needs to sound like this or it's not going to work. You just have to keep testing and keep switching it up, to make sure that people are. It actually catches their attention, because the amount of emails everyone gets is wild. You have to be emailing often if you're going to be a team.
One thing I was going to say is when I work with clients one-on-one, one of the things I always have them do is say if they're writing a 6 email sequence, I make a couple of them always have that question mark. In other words, which we have in the 27 and 25%, those always seem to do a little short question. And then I was going to give you an example with another client. They used something that they had an incredible high open rate. And I'm really paraphrasing right now, but it was something like, I can't believe this happened to me, or something like that. And it did really, really well. And then the last point I wanted to make here, Josh, correct me if I'm wrong, but these percentages are based on 100,000 people ish, right?
Yeah, it's closer to a little shy of 90.
So we're looking here at a 20 up to 25, 27% open rate on some of these things, which is, excuse me, not 25. We're looking at 25,000 people opening these emails.
Yeah,
what I'm saying.
Absolutely. Yeah. The other thing I'll say is that, people oftentimes I recommend to most of my clients to send an email to your list almost every day. I'm not doing that right now with our business because I'm not really focused on maximizing revenue. We might go through a campaign where we're going to send more regular emails, but like this week, I've sent one email. But then again, we're not really like every day maximizing revenue in our business. I'm trying to have more of a work-life balance, right? So, but for my clients, what I recommend, people who are really focused on growth, is be emailing almost every day. Because if you think about it, if your average open rate's 11 or 12%, then it takes almost 10 emails before everyone on your list sees it. Now, it doesn't actually work like that, right? Like if you send 10 emails, not everyone will end up seeing it. But my point of it is that not everyone's opening your emails. So a lot of clients I've worked with, they're like, oh, I don't want to bother people. I don't want to email too much. Well, they're not opening but a fraction of the stuff you send them. Christian Michelson, who is somebody we've done a lot of joint ventures with in the past, he once got my attention when he was saying, actually you should be emailing 2 or 3 times a day. Because the way people use their email now is different than it used to be. People are subscribed to so many lists that, they're not going through every single email they get. So in a lot of ways, it's almost like a news feed. Are you going to catch them at the time they log in to look at their email? Especially when you're talking about emails going to the promotions tab, which people aren't, if you're getting hundreds a day, most people aren't reviewing them, every one of them. Right. And so I was actually just looking at my inbox to see if he is still doing that. And he's absolutely doing it. He sent 3 emails a couple days ago. He sent 1 email the day before that, 2 the day before that, 2 the day before that, 2 the day before that. So, yeah, a lot of ways to go about it.
Of things, what stuff is he? What kind of subject lines is he? You don't have to read them, but is it, in your opinion, creative subject lines and good stuff he's putting out there?
He's a great marketer. Oh, yeah. He's a great marketer. Some of them are very straightforward, and some of them leave a little to the imagination. It's a good mix. But yeah, he's a great marketer to follow if you want to see somebody who knows what they're doing, for sure.
The one thing is, I agree, is email is as much as you feel comfortable with, because every time I talk with somebody who pushes back on emailing often, they always say, it's the same thing. It's like they're worried about annoying their list. Well, the list is there to email. Like, that's why they opted in for your email addresses, and like, you shouldn't be worried about unsubscribes, because the real concern that they have isn't really annoying people. It's that they don't have enough to say, or they're not sure what to say, and so they don't want to just send the same like pitch over and over again to people, because they're not sure they don't produce content. And that's like, it's like, it really is a good tie into what we're talking about in the program, in the Influence Engine Accelerator, is creating content on a regular basis, or creating like a flagship concept on a regular basis to inform your marketing. And so that way you can send out emails. You could send an email every day because you have something to tell them that's valuable, aside from like, hey, I have more slots on my calendar if you want to talk about hiring me. Like, hey, do you have that problem that I solved? But if you're creating content and you have some thought leadership materials that you're putting out on a regular basis, then you have reasons to email them every day. And that's why we were able to do it. It's why Christian's able to do it, right? Is we are constantly creating content that elevate kind of, the brand of the business, but the brand of Josh Turner, and the brand of Christian Michelson, and the brand of, Danny Ennie, and whoever else, of like these like marketing people, right? And we had material. Our audience was small business owners and small to medium-sized business owners who, needed systems to get leads and sales. So we just created tons of content around that, and always had something to tell them. The like technical term, I guess not technical term, but like the scholarly term of it is called the cycle of redundancy. It's when you get into a system where you get into like, I guess, a pattern if you're just saying the same things over and over again, and everyone just starts to tune you out, and then you get self-conscious about it because you know what you're sending them is not valuable. If you create valuable content or have valuable insights, you have like an entire library of things that you can talk about, then you'll be less insecure about emailing them, because you'll feel what you're sending is actually valuable to them. The moment you stop believing in what you're sending is the moment you're gonna start to get stressed out about it, and people are gonna start tuning you out.
So really, what it's all about is don't stop believing.
Yeah, don't stop believing. Don't stop believing, and find a system of creating some valuable information, to give people. And it's a little bit different if you're like a B2C person selling like a cheaper product, right? If you're selling to consumers and you sell chips or something, I don't know. It's like coming up with content for that's a little different. But if you're like a service provider, a consultant, an agency, whatever, like you have some expertise in what you're doing. And so find ways to create content, find ways to position it in interesting ways to make your prospects care about it. and then send chunks of it every day in email, and then throw call to actions in there for next steps and give them opportunities to move forward. But at the very minimum, you're staying in front of them and elevating your brand in their eyes for the people that are opening emails, at least.
Well, speaking of subject lines, great points, Ryan. Coincidentally, Tim has gathered some very funny headlines that he wanted to share with everybody today for a little comedic break in the action.
I thought I'd switch it up today when I was doing research for the show. This idea just hit me, and these are all headlines, and I'm not going to read them all. Couple because they're just hysterical. They're from this week's this past week in the news. So the first one I'm going to read here, and it looks like Ryan's putting them up on the screen. Something went wrong in jet crash, experts say. It's good to know, right? Enraged cow injures farmer with an axe. Now, here's something that's really important. You have this job as a miner that refuses to work after death. Unexcusable. Juvenile court to try shooting defendant. It's a way to solve the problem, right? Let's see. I'm going to skip a couple here because I've already read many. This is really good wisdom about a strike. If the strike is not settled quickly, it may last a while. So, couple slain. Police suspect homicide. Here's a good way to fix a bridge. Red tape holds up new bridge. And the last one, I thought this was rather funny, one of my favorites. New study of obesity looks for a larger test group.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites. Yeah, that one's great.
Got a fun,
study
right?
of obesity looks for larger test group.
I think that's something Letterman did back in the day. Didn't he used to do those funny headlines, I think, once in a while?
Yeah, he would have like little clippings from the classified section and little newspaper ads that were funny, headlines. Yeah.
Just of these things are such a great twist on. So there you have it.
They remind me a lot of The Onion, or what's the other one too? What's the one that starts with a B or that has a
Babylon
B? Babylon Bee and The Onion, which have their own political leanings to it usually, but it's the same concept, right? It's just like funny news, and their headlines always crack me up. I mean, my favorite one ever was the one they had an article about the moon landing. It was like the article was just like, holy fucking shit, man lands on the moon, and I loved it. But I think The Onion when it's done well, or the versions of that comedy are the best, the best out there.
Cool.
The other one that I really liked a lot that actually I had to think about it was this juvenile court to try shooting defendant. I was like, what? It's so awkwardly constructed. I had to think about, what are they actually trying to say? Like, crazy. Where'd you find these?
I like the miner that was dead that refused to go back to work. I thought that was quite interesting.
Yeah. Miners refuse to work after death. Yes, that is nice. Yeah. Well, that reminds me of what I was just listening to the Aaron Rodgers interview. Now, no one died there, but a coach was let go, so no longer with the organization, and he was being basically saying like, hey, we were all like just feeling bad for the guy because he's got a family and stuff. He just wasn't expecting to get fired, got let go. Crazy to happen, but that's football, I guess. And the other football news, I know. Go ahead, Tim.
Yeah, I was going to say, well, so as a Pats fan, I am the hater. I wish bad things on them. Sorry if you're a Jet fan, but I wish nothing but no success. Their last Super Bowl appearance, 1969. But that being said, Robert Saleh, even though he has a family, I was just reading about that this morning, he is making $20,000 a day on the rest of his contract. So it's really not bad for his family.
He still gets paid. He's on $5 million a year. He's got this year and next year remaining to be paid. which is no, not the end of the world. But he wanted to coach. He doesn't want to sit at home and get fired. But
the real winners of that situation where you get let go and you get paid out are college coaches. They have these insane buyouts. So like Ed Orgeron, the guy he was the head coach of LSU when they won the national title a few years ago with like Joe Burrow and those guys. He got let go like 2 years later. He had like tens of millions. I think it was like $50 million left on his contract or something crazy like that. Wow. And then they have these buyouts where if the university wants to buy them out, they have to pay most time it's like 80% of the remaining contractual value. So like Jimbo Fisher from Texas A&M is getting paid, I think it's $80 million over the next 7 years they fired him. And he just gets to sit there and make I don't know.
That's like, well, if that's the deal they gave him, then that's the deal they gave him.
Yeah, man. If you're a coach, just get one of those big buyout deals and then you're good. I honestly wonder if that's half the reason they don't, they start to fall apart is they stop caring. And they realize well, the only way they're going to let go, if they let go of me, they have to pay me tens of millions of dollars every year. Yeah. I'm still set.
Yeah.
See, and Ryan, when Josh started this, he was actually pretty smart because if he fires us, we only get $2 million each. So it's really, it's a good win-win for everybody,
Right. Yeah. Now, let me ask you, Tim, what are the chances that Bill Belichick is the coach of the Jets next season?
I'm thinking next to 0%, only because he shares the hatred of the Jets and he has done more things in the draft to screw them over. He was also, if you recall, in the year 2000, right before he became the Pats coach, he was the Jets head coach for 1 day. He was elevated to head coach and quit after 1 day. So there was no very, very bad blood.
Right.
And the New York is it's probably what is it? The St. Louis Chicago thing, I think, is a little bit similar.
Sure.
Philly, DC, and all that stuff. And out west, San Francisco, LA has a good rivalry, but total hatred
a lot going on there. And moving on.
Hold on, real quick. Here's the reason why Bill Belichick's not going to be coaching anywhere next year. He retired, and now he just dates 20. He's dating a 23-year-old.
Yeah.
And there's that video. Did you guys see that video of him a while back of him? That went viral of him leaving some a woman's house. It was like a walk of shame thing. It was a doorbell cam. And he just it was sneaking away like he was a 25-year-old. Yeah. I think he, as rich as he is and successful as he is, and he's doing the broadcasting and he's great at it. Like he's doing the talking head videos and stuff for the networks. And he's dating women like this. Like, man, he'd be insane to want to go take on the challenge of the Jets and dealing with that. Man, just enjoy your life. Look at this.
You would think.
This is insane.
Oh my God, I love that picture.
Yeah. Well, hell yeah, man. Bill Belichick's cool.
Yeah.
At least she's old enough. He did not have to go to her prom, so that's a positive.
Yeah, if she's anyone much younger. I mean, you're pushing it now, but anyone much younger, it starts to get weird.
If they go out to dinner, she is actually now legal to have a glass of wine by 2 years. So there's a lot of positives there.
Yeah. If he was dating an 18-year-old, I'd just be like, all right, man, what are you doing?
Which she was 5 years ago, which is pretty funny.
Well, let's hope he doesn't show up on any of those Diddy videos. That's all I'm going to say, and we can move on after that.
What video? Oh, Diddy videos. I thought you said something else that rhymes with Diddy. Okay.
No, I didn't. I've been trying to move us along to wine talk.
Let's go on.
But maybe we'll talk about Diddy after that.
Yeah, we'll get into the Diddy. We'll do a deep dive to the Diddy situation.
I think enough people are doing that already. We'll let someone else do the Diddy deep dive. All right. So wine talk. This is kind of a businessy one. I don't have a specific wine to feature, although this is about a specific winery called Sandler. And I just dropped a quote that Ryan's working on right now that he'll throw up on the screen that I got in one of their emails. So I've bought wine from these guys a couple times. They're making wine out of California that is extremely reasonably priced. These are Pinots primarily, but also Chardonnays, other things. But they're most known for their Pinots. Extremely reasonably priced. We're talking you can get them for $30 a bottle kind of thing. and they run specials from time to time where you can even get like free shipping or low cost shipping and get, blah, blah, blah. And I think they're a steal. I think they're worth at least twice as much. I don't know. Maybe I don't know why they're so cheap, but that's where they are in the market. But I got this email from them that I thought was really interesting. That basically, I've never had a winery that I'm on their list email me an offer like this before. But they're offering their customers the opportunity to bottle your own barrel of wine with a label personally designed by you or designed for you.
Wow.
And a barrel of wine is 24 to 25 cases though. So that's 24. What's 24 times 12? A shitload of wine. More than I'm interested.
You're looking close to $3,000. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, but for if you got business where you're giving out stuff, gifts and things, like you can see all the different use cases for it. If you were having a wedding and you wanted a really cool thing at the wedding with, a wine with your own name on it or whatever you want to put on the label, that's a pretty, that's a neat thing to do. Or just to kind of have a flex when friends come over, give away holiday gifts and stuff. And then at the bottom, you can see, it says, in these days of slower wine sales, we have plenty of wine to offer for private labels at surprisingly reasonable prices. The only reason they're doing this is because they've got a bunch of extra wine sitting around, because wine sales are not what they used to be.
Interesting.
How much is that going to cost, you think?
What, the barrel?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm guessing you're going to get it at half of retail. So let me just say that they're going to sell it to you for like what would maybe be the equivalent of no more than $15 a bottle, which would be about $4,000 for the barrel.
So you have to buy the barrel with this deal, Josh?
I don't know if you get the barrel. I don't know how that works.
You have to buy a barrel's worth of wine, in other words? You have to buy 24.
No, you're going to have one barrel of wine that's the equivalent of 24 cases. They already have the wine in the barrel. They're going to bottle it for you and put your own label on it.
Yeah, but can you just buy, say, 5 cases out of that barrel and still do this promotion?
I don't think so. This one's you got to be ready to go all in. This is for the Diddy deep dive.
You know what's funny? Based on that phone number, dude, this is actually local to me. That's a San Francisco area code. So
yeah. So like their wines, I should have brought up a bottle, but they got a lot of stuff that's like the Santa Maria, Sonoma area, Santa Cruz. So they, I don't know if they have their own vineyards. I think they actually specialize in buying grapes from other people and creating their own wine out of it. But yeah, so they have a few different areas that they focus on, but they know what they're doing when it comes to making wine. I'll tell you that. I mean, I've had a lot of different wines of theirs, and they're rarely do they disappoint.
Usually to me, for $4,000, it's a really cool thing. Like if you for a business to buy. And have it be branded, and it's like cool, and you could give it to clients and like your people, like Christmas gifts to people on your team, or as part of a gift.
Sure.
Like, and then you get to keep some for yourself, and then it's all can be written off.
Yeah.
And it seems like a perfect thing, because like if it was going to be something like much more than that, then I don't know if it'd be a lot. But like $4,000, if you have a decent business,
yeah,
I could see this being worth every penny.
I could be wrong. If they're charging retail, I would be shocked, but whatever. It could be 6,000 or something if I'm a little off, but yeah, I think we're in the ballpark with that.
And you said this and I missed it, but how many bottles is that total, you think?
24 times 12.
Okay, so 12.
Well, it'll be about 300 bottles, right?
Yeah. Close to 300 bottles. Yeah. And I mean, that's a significant amount of wine you got to have a way to get that wine out. Like you can't, I wouldn't want all that wine just sitting in my house. Like it would take forever to work through that. And you don't want to drink the same thing over and over again. So you're definitely, this is the kind of thing to do for like a giveaway, a business thing, a huge party. But it's pretty cool, I would say. And it's always neat to see businesses and wineries coming up with new ways to try and make it,
love that they're doing that. That's really
Support your local wineries. They need the business.
I clearly do. No problem there.
Even Missouri wineries, which have not the best of wine.
I don't know how they're making it, period. They're all just making it off of the tasting room. You know, it's the people coming in and, you know, the on Saturdays, the party buses stopping in, and, you know, it's more of a restaurant retail thing than anything. But
Yeah.
I say that, but then, like, if you go to Friar Tuck, they have like a whole aisle of Missouri, Illinois wine. And I'm like, who is buying this? Like, there's every once in a while I'll try something and I'm like, it's not bad. There's some stuff that isn't bad. There's some stuff that's good. But I'm like, who's coming in here and focusing on this?
Yeah, who's you
Somebody.
talking about who's drinking it? It's college kids.
Yeah.
Because like that's what I drank tons of like local shitty wine in college.
Yeah.
And a lot of it was because they did marketing. One of the more interesting marketing things that I saw was with like in college, there's a wine bar. I live in Springfield, Missouri. I can't remember the name of it, but they did this thing called Wine Stomp every year where they would go around to different fraternities and sororities and like recruit them to do it. And they would have a big stage. They'd have live music, people selling shit, and then you'd get on there and you'd have a team of two, and you would stomp wine with your feet. They stomp grapes, and they would have like whoever got the most juice out of it move to the next round. I don't even know what the prize was, but it would be like 300 people there getting annihilated at this event, drinking St. James wine, like Kool-Aid wine, stomping on grapes, having a good time. And I think it worked because I saw wine, like local wine at parties constantly, but people would just be like people drinking it out of the bottle, like it's Boone's Farm or something. Not the classiest of situations, but it was, you know, that's what we did.
Well,
what if they sell Missouri wine in California?
What?
I said, I wonder if they have Missouri wine in California.
Probably
I can't imagine they do. That would be crazy.
No,
it's like, because like a lot of places can grow grapes. Doesn't mean they grow the right grapes.
Yeah.
You know, instead of Napa Valley, it could be, you can have something from Branson Valley. You know, it'd be great.
There are some other places that are becoming more known for producing decent wine, like you know, Virginia, Arizona, New York, but Missouri and Illinois haven't risen to that level yet. So
no, do you know why? Like the grape, like what the issue is here, why everything's so sweet?
Oh, I mean, there's certain grapes that thrive in our climate that and like the most popular stuff that's like coming out of California and whatnot or Oregon or whatever isn't going to work here. So they have to use certain types of specific grape varietals that will grow in our climate here. And it's just not ideal. I think that's the main thing. And so these are, you know, they're just not the most popular varietals. Norton is a red grape from Missouri that is probably what Missouri is most known for. And a lot of the Missouri wineries like to say that, like, back in the day, the Norton grape was actually the most popular red wine, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, when was that? Like 700 years ago or something? I don't know. You know?
Before people moved out west?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I mean, and also, Tim, just the wineries here, I mean, they're mainly just for, like, partying. If people go there, they are very fun. You'll see half as many people drinking beers there, though, as, you know, it's just they're cool. There's cool areas, have a bunch of them. And but then they have a lot of the wineries, what they do, which I think is smart, is they'll do something like what we have on the screen, but they'll find like somebody who sells grapes from California or Oregon or wherever. And so they'll have their own, like, you know, cab, and it'll be decent enough, but it's because it's not grown here. And then they'll have their own, like, sweet wines. It reminds me a whole lot of, like, if you've seen the show Schitt's Creek, and they have those, like, they go to that winery and they're selling, like, they're drinking like berry wines, like cherry wine and stuff like that, and rhubarb wine. That like it's like that, like not necessarily exactly what I'm talking. It's grapes was what they're making it with, but it's sweet. And
well, that's a lot of the stuff that's going on in Illinois in my area, and it's fruit wine, and people fucking love it. Like that. I mean, honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, that's probably what they're selling a lot of at Friar Tuck, because people are like, go get me that raspberry wine or that fucking watermelon wine. And they are they're making like there's a place like a half hour from me. I think it's called like Plainview Winery. I can't remember the name of it. I've been there once, and it's a party spot, dude. It gets packed. They have a restaurant. They're making their own wine, but this is garbage wine. Let's not mince words. It's poop wine is what it is. But you know what? There's a lot of people who are really into that, like super sweet raspberry wine, whatever they're making there kind of thing. I looked at every wine they produced and was like, I'm not going to have any of that. I'll have a Busch Light. So, but to each their own. Some people love it.
Yeah, no, it's gross. I'm going to drink the wine regardless how much I hate it when I'm there. I'm just going to do it.
You are.
Just drink it, and then I'm going to just smash this sugar wine over and over, you know. Like if someone like I said rhubarb wine is kind of like a joke, but no, my father-in-law has a bottle of rhubarb wine in his house right now. Like, who the fuck drinks rhubarb wine? Like, you know, he was like, "You guys want a glass?" This I was like, "Not really. You have bourbon. I'll just drink that."
Yeah. Well, there you have it. Well,
you want a zip, a peanut, a little rhubarb, whatever you need. We got it.
Yeah,
exactly. And I'm not even really like a wine snob guy. You know, I'm not like that. But like, no, I'm not trying to drink it. But if I'm at the winery, it's different. I'll drink. I'll just drink this shit right out of the bottle. Walk around.
Well, that's what Tim was doing at the Ohana Fest last week. And for Song of the Day today, he has a special gem. Tim, tell us about this one.
Yeah, sure. So, you know, I was wine by the glass, but the Eddie Vedder, of course, was wine straight out of the bottle on stage, if you've ever seen them before. So this was a really cool moment for me at this festival. So this is probably a quote you've never heard, but my favorite band ever from New Zealand are Crowded House. So, and Ryan, by the way, if you could, I put in the notes, if you could get to 55 seconds here when we do play it, because the beginning they're just rambling, talking to each other and introducing each other. So Crowded House, they're a band that started around 1990 out of New Zealand. And it's a couple of brothers. They have these absolutely beautiful harmonies. They had a really good run in the 90s. Actually, I worked for Capitol at that time, and they were selling gold records at that time. They've been kind of out of pocket for a long time. Long story short, they reunited about 7 that, and they hadn't been to America in a long time. Played this festival, and then of course brought out my favorite singer of all time, Eddie Vedder, at this festival. And it's a beautiful song. And Josh, I know you know this well, because this song, not this version, but this song was actually played at your wedding, which was just so cool. So it's a great thing. Crowded House with Eddie Vedder joining them on stage. I was right here in front near the stage. Throw Your Arms Around Me. And it is an absolute beautiful love song. So we'll hear, at least to the chorus, Ryan. Thank you.
I'll come to you in the daytime. I will raise you from your sleep. I will kiss you in 4 places as I go running along your street. I will squeeze your life right out of you. I will make you laugh and make you cry, and you may never forget it as you make me call your name as a child into the blue summer sky. And we may never meet again, so shake your skin, let's get it started. And you will throw your arms around me.
Very nice background there. When the other guys started coming in and singing background a little bit, I thought that was one of you guys. I had to do a double take.
It was a cool little background there. Just such a beautiful song. And then after that, they played their original band, which was called Split Ends. You would know this song. We're not going to play it, but they played one of their biggest songs at Crowded House was Split Ends before they became Crowded House. And they dragged Eddie back out to sing with them again. And he was like, okay. And he comes running out like halfway through the song.
That was
really cool.
I Got You?
Yeah.
Yeah, a nice one. A nice
Yes,
one. You know,
yes.
when my son Eddie was younger, so he has a growing playlist of songs he's asked me to put on his playlist,
So
and
cute.
I snuck "I Got You" onto that playlist some years
Oh my
ago,
God.
and for a little while I had him into it, and it's the last couple of years. Every time it comes on, he's like, "Next."
Oh no.
Yeah,
I
so
had
that was-
I had my kids listening to decent music for a while, and now we're back on like they're all upset. Like my older son wants like songs about YouTube shit, like YouTube's jokes, and the other one wants Disney songs. So we're back to not where we want to be.
oh,
We have some time to rectify the situation, but it's not looking good.
yeah.
Well, I have to say, in the music category, then I would say Josh is doing a better parenting job than Ryan, since you're, stuck on Disney videos and he's got
Yeah.
his kid listening.
Just recently, there's a new movie that came out on Disney that my daughter loves, and we've been jamming it. But yeah, I'd always thought I would tell them no, and then at one point I just completely bitched out, and now we're stuck on.
You got to do
songs
what
about
you got to
Fortnite.
do with these little stinkers, and also sometimes you just got to play something that you think they're going to really enjoy. Like I've put on Barney a couple times without them even asking me for it, just because I knew that once they heard those first notes hit, that they'd be like so excited that Barney was playing, that I'd get to like see that little reaction from them, and
Yeah,
honestly, Barney's got some bangers.
Pat. If anyone's watching this knows Pat Hensler. He worked with us for a long time, and he told me this is like a year ago or something. But he was telling me about how Spotify has this new like AI DJ, right? It'll almost be like a radio station person, but they're talking about music on your playlist, so it sounds like you're listening to a radio station. I don't know why you'd actually want that, but either way. And this guy, he's at one point, and it finds songs that you used to like, and it it's not really a playlist. It finds something that you've listened to lately and puts it in there with songs that they think you'll like. And it was like this DJ had this real smooth voice. It was like, "Hey, everybody, welcome back to the something, music hour. Right now, we got a new banger from a hot new artist. This is," and I can't remember the name of the song name, by Goofy. And it was fucking Goofy from Mickey Mouse. Yeah. His kids were like, "Yeah, hell yeah, let's go."
That's great. Well, on that note, been a good show, guys. Appreciate everyone being here with us today. We'll catch you next time.
Yeah, absolutely. Stay safe, Florida, too.